You're alright everyone. Now before I get into today's topic, there's a couple of things I just want to clear up. Now I do normally like to film outside, and part of the reason I haven't really uploaded too much is because for the past 3 months we've had nothing but rain. My grass is overly saturated now, you can't even walk on it. And I wouldn't even be able to bring my camera out because the rain will just destroy it obviously. And another thing I want to talk about just quickly is I want to shout out Bright. They've been supplying my channel now for a couple months with these excellent torches, and no, I'm not just saying that because they're free. I am passionate about this hobby and everything I do, and if something's junk, I will tell you it's junk. Now these torches from Bright, I think they're excellent, and again, I'm not just saying that because it's free. I'm going to have a full review on this coming up in the next couple of days. I'm not going to go into it now because that's for the review. Just a couple more things I need to add to the review and it'll be done. It is going to be a positive one though. So yeah, I just want to thank Bright for supplying a relatively small channel like mine with these torches. You know, it is much appreciated. Now for the actual topic of the video, crossbows in the UK. Now the year's 2021. What I'm about to say may change in the future. Obviously I can't predict the future. Now I made a video similar to this back in, I think, was it 2015-16? It was a good few years ago now, basically talking about crossbows in the UK. Are they worth it? Are they worth owning? To summarise that video, yes and yes. There was absolutely no downsides to owning a crossbow in the UK. Now, I want to talk about that in today, and especially, you know, with how, you know, the government in the UK loves passing laws and all that. Has anything changed? Is there anything you need to be aware of? Now, I'm amazed to say this, and thankfully, there doesn't appear to be any new restrictions in regards to owning crossbows in the UK. I believe the only thing there is now is you have to definitely prove you are over 18, and I think all you have to do is just send the website selling them a picture of some ID. That's basically it. There's no licence, there's no restrictions, you don't need to notify the police, you don't have to go and get medical clarification, you don't have to keep them locked up, although I do recommend that, to be completely honest with you, but it's not a requirement. And I just think that's excellent for the whole of target shooting in general. Now crossbows, yes, they use bolts, and yes, one may consider them to be archery equipment, and you can take them to some archery clubs and use them on their field, although I will be completely honest, not all archery clubs like that, because these can be quite powerful and they can just rip through targets and over penetrate them. But back to the crossbow itself, these bridge a gap, I believe, between archery and target shooting with, say, firearms and air rifles, of course. Now, because it is a more firearm inspired design, you've got your pistol grip, or obviously rifle sized ones will have a foregrip and all that. It sort of gives people who may not be able to afford a firearms licence, or people who can't shoot an air rifle in the garden, it gives them an option. So let's talk about shooting in the garden. In the UK, you know, most people are going to be shooting air rifles in the garden, you know, for a bit of target shooting and plinking. That's not always possible because you've got neighbours. Now neighbours, it depends obviously. They may be understanding, they may not be too, you know, keen on you shooting air rifles in the garden. And of course some neighbours are just going to get a complete the wrong idea. They're going to see someone with a gun in the garden, they're going to ring the police. It doesn't end well for anyone. Crossbows offer you the chance to enjoy target shooting in the garden without disturbing the neighbours, because these are quiet. Obviously they're not going to be Hollywood levels of quiet, because you are going to hear the string, you're going to hear the bolt impacting the target. But you could shoot one of these all day in the garden, I guarantee you your neighbours aren't going to suspect a thing. You're not doing nothing illegal, by the way, when I say that. It's just, obviously neighbours can get the wrong idea, and some neighbours may not be so supportive of it. So that's just one thing I want to get out the way. Also, it's affordability. Now, firearms in the UK can be quite expensive. Well, not so much the gun itself, it's the process. The licence, the renewals, the safe, a lot of that really adds up, and before you know it, you're looking at spending £1,000 just to get, you know, into shooting. Not everyone has that money. This crossbow, when I bought it, this is the Armex Tron. And one little disclaimer, Armex unfortunately aren't in business anymore. So this crossbow, they're not as available out there really. You can still find them, but the price has increased. I paid £25 for this crossbow. It came with a foregrip. It didn't include the torch and the quiver. I'll talk about them in a minute. £25, and I had some plastic bolts with it. They weren't the greatest, but you can buy a 12 pack of aluminium bolts for what, £6. Okay, so let's just say under 50 quid, you can be in your garden enjoying target shooting with one of these. No licence, no restrictions. It is, in my opinion, the easiest and the best way to get into target shooting if you have neighbours who may not be too fond of an air rifle or whatnot because of the noise and all that. Now obviously crossbows, you can get bigger ones, the rifle sized, you can get carbine sized ones. They basically come in all different flavours, shapes and sizes. You can get recurve, which this is. You can get compound ones which have little cams on the end. Personally, I prefer recurve crossbows just because they're so simple. Now, the power this generates, this has got an 80 foot-pound prod on it. It's not quite 80 foot-pounds, but it's close to it. Now, you consider the power of this compared to an air rifle, which puts out about 12 foot-pounds at the UK legal limit before you require a licence. So yes, these do have a fair bit of power. If you're going to shoot one of these in the garden, you need to be responsible. Okay, you need to make sure you have a good backdrop. You know where that bolt is going. And you know if there's a potential for you to miss, where is that bolt going to go? So you always want to make sure you have a good solid target. Well, I say a solid target. Preferably you've got a soft target. And behind that you'll have some solid backing just in case. But no, as long as you're responsible, you know how to maintain the crossbow. Typically with the recurve ones, it's just a bit of wax on the string and the rail. You can buy replacement prods and strings and ends anyway. As long as you're fully understanding of that, you're going to have an absolutely great time at one of these. Now, little crossbows like this, what makes them so great is the community around them and how customisable and modular they are. Now, this torch, this was supplied by Brian Knight, who I mentioned earlier. I've already done a review on this. It's an absolutely excellent torch. It's a little oversized, but I just like to tend shooting really when it's a little bit darker out. So, having a little underslung torch like this, you know, excellent. Now, the quiver, these are actually made by a YouTuber called Weapon Collector, and this is where I'm coming into with the community. You know, the crossbow community in the UK especially, they're all creating their own little designs and their little ideas, and it's excellent. These quivers, no one makes one like them. So it's just Weapon Collector on his own, in his shed, he makes these, and they are absolutely incredible. So if you're after something like that, you just to attach to the rail to the bottom, give him a message, and I'm sure he'll make one for you. Now, I mentioned different types of crossbows. This is obviously a pistol one. Now, this is the Armex Tomcat 2. Now, I know what you're thinking, the bayonet. It's a novelty bayonet. It's just made by Weapon Collector again. Really, it is just for a laugh, really. But you know what? It is actually quite practical. It makes the cocking easier. But yeah, this is what you consider a carbine-style crossbow. I suppose some people will still call it a pistol one, but again, I want to talk about the community surrounding this. So we do have a quiver made by Weapon Collector, the bayonet Weapon Collector. The stock extender is made by a fella who runs a company called 3D Cabin. He 3D prints these and they clip on. Excellent. Just gives you that little bit of, you know, grip on the shoulder, a little bit of extra reach. So this has got the same prod on it, 80 foot-pounds. This may be a bit more suitable for someone who wants to maybe do a bit more accurate shooting. This one's got an ever so nicer trigger on it. These were about 30 quid, I think, when you could still get them. Again, it's made by Armex. They've long since gone bust. These do occasionally pop up for about £80. Now, if you don't have that money and you are after a pistol crossbow, Horizon, I think they're called Horizon or Horizon, whatever, they make a crossbow called the Redback. Basically, it's the same thing as this. It doesn't have the stock. Excellent crossbows, plenty powerful. Just remember, you have got to be responsible for that power. You know, because these can do quite a bit of damage. So if you are shooting stuff, make sure you have a good backdrop and you know where that bolt's going. But I've been rambling on for quite some time now. I just want to drive home the fact that crossbows in the UK, they haven't gone anywhere, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't go anywhere in the near future. They're a great accessible way to get into target shooting in the UK. And, well, I can say this much, once you've bought one, that's it, the addiction starts. Then the next thing you know, you've got 20 of the things and you're just enjoying target shooting. Hopefully that branches you out into different forms of target shooting. It may encourage you to get your firearm, your shotgun certificate. It's just an excellent way to take a stepping stone into the sport. And you know what, if you don't like it, you're 50 quid down the drain, and it's not even that, because you can sell it on, get your money back easily. So yeah, that's been a bit of a ramble from me today, but it's a video I've wanted to get off my chest for quite some time. Crossbows, you're going to see a lot more crossbow content on this channel coming soon. Hell, I might even make it a feature, because all my crossbow videos seem to do really well. So yeah, that's a little rant from me. If you haven't bought a crossbow in the UK yet, please, for the love of God, go out and buy one. Give them a try, and I can guarantee you'll be hooked. Of course, if you don't live in the UK, hell, they may even be legal in the country you're watching this from. Get one. I'm encouraging anyone who sees this video who can legally buy one to buy a crossbow, and seriously just go out and shoot it and have probably some of the most fun you'll ever have. Okay, that's the end of my little rant. Cheers for watching.